Most people like to split their firewood before they stack it and dry it, but I'm going to show you a few reasons why I like to stack it and dry it first, then wait to split it until I'm ready to burn it. We'll get right into the first reason why, which is right here. This stack was split before it was stacked. That's a lot of pieces in there that you have to pick up each piece, put it in the stack. That's very time consuming. It's a lot of work. Each piece I put up here is like several of those small ones. I can stack a stack of rounds a whole lot faster than I can stack those individual pieces. That is assuming your rounds are small enough and light enough to handle, like this softwood. I'm not editing the time it's taking to stack this. And this pile is going up very quickly compared to if I was doing all those little pieces. I'm changing camera angles to maintain visual interest, but you're seeing this in real time. Do you know anyone who can stack all those little pieces that quickly? After I get these out of my way, I'll be able to back the trailer right up to the stack. I can move those rounds right off the trailer onto the stack. A lot of those I won't have to lift them up because they're already up. Then in the fall, when it's time to load these up to take them to my mom so she can stay warm all winter, I won't have to rehandle all those little individual pieces to load them up. I can move the splitter right up to the stack of wood, back the trailer right up to the splitter, split them right into the back of the trailer. Yes, in that case, when I'm loading these into the trailer off the splitter, I do have to handle the individual pieces, but step back to now, if I was splitting this wood to stack them, I would have to handle them anyway, getting them off the splitter and onto the ground, then have to pick them up again, put them on the stack. It might seem like I'm splitting eggs here. Wait a minute, not eggs, splitting hairs, not splitting eggs. You don't split eggs, you crack them. But let's think about it here for a minute. If I'm splitting the wood, I have to handle each one of those many small pieces. Then I have to handle each one of those many small pieces when I'm stacking them. Then later on, when it's time to load those up, I'm going to have to handle each one of those many small pieces again when I'm loading them up. When I do it this way, the only movements are to lift the rounds onto the stack. Later on, when it's time to split, the splitter will be right here. Many of the rounds are already up high. I can move them to the splitter. I would have to handle the small individual pieces while I'm splitting anyway, either way I do it. Those go directly into the trailer and get hauled away. And I find, even though these larger pieces are heavier, my body is less tired after stacking a row of these rounds than it is stacking all those small pieces. With these rounds, there's less repetition, less repetitive stress. And if I wasn't trying to show off how fast I can stack these, I might take some time to use better lifting form, which would help even more. Now you might be thinking, okay, smarty pants, or guy who thinks he's a smarty pants, everybody knows wood does not dry as well if it's not split. Well, that's what people have been led to believe, and they would be right about that. It does not dry as fast when it's not split, although some people would argue with that. A lot of people have been told wood only dries out the ends because that's the way moisture moves through the tree. But I have enough undocumented, unverified, circumstantial evidence that would suggest that it also can dry out the side. Anyone who's cut a log into lumber and dried the lumber knows that that lumber will dry faster than a whole log will. That's one of the reasons why we sticker them, so that moisture can leave out the sides, which is one reason why I did pre-split this wood to help it dry faster, and why I plan on splitting this wood before I pile it up to store it. That is because this is mostly madrone and oak, which are both hardwoods that take a long time to dry. They get very tough if you don't split them green, if you let them dry first. And if I split them now when they're green, they won't get as wormy inside. With some types of wood, there are enough advantages to splitting them right away to justify the extra labor. But I'm not working with that kind of wood here. I'm working with Douglas fir, which dries fairly quickly. With our hot, dry summers, this wood in round form will be plenty dry by fall. Yes, this wood will dry faster if I split it and stack it to dry. But in this climate, this softwood will still dry fast enough that it doesn't matter. Another potential advantage to doing it this way, compared to a lot of hardwoods, a lot of softwoods like this Douglas fir can split easier when it's dried. And in the fall, after I've been away at the coast all summer and I don't get back here soon enough to cover it before it gets rained on a few times, in round form, it has all that bark to protect it. There's less surface area to absorb that rainwater. It takes longer for these to absorb water compared to split wood. In some places like here in the Pacific Northwest where we have cool, damp winters, wood can absorb moisture out of the air. In round form, I have noticed, again, this is undocumented, unverified, circumstantial evidence, but I've noticed it seems like when I split these in the winter, the inside of these are more dry than wood that was already split, because that wood that's already split has more surface area to absorb moisture, whereas in round form, it takes longer for that moisture to get deep inside the wood. That's after they've had all summer to dry. It seems like the rounds stay drier inside longer than the wood that was already split. There are some of the reasons why sometimes I think it's better to stack and dry the firewood before splitting it. Now maybe the real question is this really a good technique, or is this just a way for me to procrastinate splitting it? That's a good question. Another question is, why am I stacking these rounds instead of leaving them in a pile? Mostly because it will make them easier to cover up before the winter rains come. And I have a limited area here where I want it to be in this compact spot. I was running out of places to dump it. Hopefully I'm making it clear that I'm not trying to say this is always the best way to do it. I'm just trying to give you a tool to put in your toolbox. So if you have a situation where doing it this way makes sense, now you can pull that tool out and do it this way. There are a lot of cases where this just wouldn't make much sense. Seems like we have to specify that for some people on YouTube. Although those of us who make the videos could be somewhat responsible for that because of some of the ridiculous, misleading clickbait titles we sometimes use, but let's pretend that's not a thing and we don't have to be responsible for that. Yeah, let's go with that. And I could do that other annoying thing we do sometimes, which is stretch the video out more so we can get more watch time, even though I pretty much said the whole everything I needed to say. Instead of continuing to blabber on, I'll put some other videos up here for you to watch. I'll make this one less than 8 minutes, so hopefully you won't have to watch a mid-roll ad.